Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Welcome to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, everybody. How is it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. I am back with more feel-good, positive stories to share with you, and I am super excited, just like I say every single time, so I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Happy Thursday if you're listening to this on the day that it comes out. If not, I just hope you're having a wonderful day and feeling good and positive and spreading kindness every single chance that you get. I have been working my butt off lately, finishing up school, finishing up so many things that I'm doing in life right now, and it is just so exciting. So I am definitely feeling good. I have so many fun and interesting stories to share with you today. Lots of things you're going to be interested in. Stick around to the end of the episode because I have a very cool story of something that is quite complex, but it could be providing unlimited clean energy to the world. It is marking a huge milestone. You're not going to want to miss that story. I have some stories about animals for all you animal lovers out there. I have some feel-good, kind stories, some new inventions, all those fun things. You already know. I got lots of fun things to bring to you. But let's start today's episode with something that is pretty cool that is happening all over the USA. It is super exciting. So, as we know, COVID-19 has been, restricting everything we do, right? Life is different right now, and you can't really go to the movies, and you can't, go hang out with big groups of people with your friends, and one thing that I have been really missing most since all of COVID-19 is the movies. I love going to the movies, whether that's just by myself or with my friends. It's just such a relaxing time. You don't have to talk to anyone. Just sit back with your snacks and relax. So that's something that I have personally been missing during all of these restrictions and physical distancing. But this is a pretty cool story I wanted to share with you that you're definitely going to be interested in. So Walmart is doing a drive-in movie theater tour all over the U.S. How cool is that? And it's free. These drive-in movie screenings are free to Walmart across, literally all over the U.S. So if you've always wanted to catch a classic film on the big screen, this is the Walmart drive-in tour. It's for you. It can make that happen in a socially distancing way. And this is pretty cool. Actress Drew Barrymore will be there virtually to host each event. And then at one surprise location, she will even be there in person. So if you get lucky to be at that Walmart location with Drew Barrymore, she's going to be there once in person, but every other one she will be on the screen hosting the event. And it is completely free. So it's just created to respond in the coronavirus. So there's 160 Walmart stores across the country that are going to be hosting the drive-in movie nights, and it's all the way till the end of October. So, Janie Whiteside, the Walmart's chief customer officer, says, "We recognize the challenges our customers and their families have faced over the last few months, and we wanted to create an experience where they could come together safely to create new memories. The Walmart Drive-In is one small way we're supporting the communities that we serve." So this all starts on August 14th, and over the next few months, there's going to be 320 movies playing from coast to coast, literally from Houston, Texas, to Montana, everywhere. So the film choices have all been curated by Walmart's drive-in partner, the Tribeca Film Festival. So lots of fun movies that will be playing. And you can just enjoy this from your vehicle, nice and safe. So I'm going to just name some of the selection of the kinds of movies that you're going to be able to enjoy. So some inspiring sports stories like Friday Night Lights, The Karate Kid, Space Jam. You're going to have some blockbuster franchises, Black Panther, Pokemon Detective, Spider-Man, Spy Kids, Teen Titans, Wonder Woman. You're going to have E.T., Ghostbusters, Men in Black, Back to the Future, Beetlejuice, The Goonies, The Wizard of Oz, Dolphin Tale to Selena. That's a true story. And then, of course, some animated features as well. So Cars, The Iron Giant, the Lego Movie, Madagascar. So that's just a few to give you some examples of the movies that you could be enjoying. There will be filmmakers and special guests alongside Drew Barrymore as well, just to help celebrate and the comeback of the big screen into all of your social calendars. So if you've ever hoped to see stars, there's LeBron James, Jennifer Gardner, director Peter Berg, Christine Metz. You might be seeing them at one of these locations. You never know. They're all going to be making surprise virtual or in-person appearances at just specific locations, so you really never know who you're going to run into. But just head over to thewalmartdrivein.com because you can find store location, dates, and the films being shown at each stop on the movie tour as well. Then you can also reserve your parking space and pick your desired location and date. So then once you're confirmed, you'll receive an email with a code that will grant your vehicle entry on the day of the event. So go enjoy some movies, go hang out, go maybe see some fun celebrities in person. Like, how cool is that? So there you go. I wanted to start today's episode off with that because you know how much I love starting these episodes off with a positive thing about the pandemic. And there you go. The Walmart Drive-In is a positive thing that has kind of come in the result of coronavirus to help people come together as a community and still enjoy those movies and just time together. So head over to the WalmartDrivein.com, find the location near you, what date, what movie's going to be there, and enjoy. All right, now I want to share a pretty cool thing. So there's a 3D printer that has completed the largest 3D printed home in Europe. It has 2 stories, 980 square feet. And this 3D printer, it was created in 3 weeks. The home. So 2 stories, 980 square feet, 3 weeks. That's it. That's all it took. So it is the largest 3D printed home ever made in Europe. It has 2 living rooms, a kitchen, bathroom, and a foyer. It's just been completed by the Belgian sustainable construction company called Camp C. And they're hugely advancing the science of 3D printing housing. And this could change so many things for housing to come in our future. So Camp C used a 32 by 32 foot gantry printer, they call it. It's the largest of its kind in Europe. And they created the shell of the 2-story building. And then using a special cement mixture ejected from the printer's nozzle, the on-site work only took 3 weeks. The construction workers adding the roof, foundation, floor, windows, doors, plumbing, and electrical by hand. And then there's literally 980 square feet building also featured some unique sustainable touches like underfloor heating, solar panels were added later on as well. So the benefits of 3D printing is it's also known as additive manufacturing. You might have heard that term before. But this precise work of the machine cuts costs of the materials and, of course, the time. 3 weeks to build a house like that is just incredible. So they say the material's compressive strength is 3 times greater than that of the conventional quick build brick. So besides the fibers in the concrete, the amount of wire mesh reinforcement used is extremely limited. As a result of the printing technology used, the formwork was redundant, saving an estimated 60% on material, time, and budget. Isn't that crazy? So in Europe, where homes are normally built with brick, mortar, and concrete, they're saving construction costs is not the only great thing, but it's also for the environment as well, right? It's estimated that the manufacturing concrete creates 1 ton of CO2 per every ton of material, making it one of the most carbon-intensive construction methods available to home builders. But designed and carried out as a proof concept, this house in Belgium was never actually intended to be lived in. But they say printing this building is mainly a statement. It says it shows the construction industry the accessibility and potential of this technique. The benefits of additive manufacturing are already paying off in a wide range of other industries. And it's about time that housing caught up with them. So they did explain that many people would like to be able to have a more unique or personalized structure to their home, but that manufacturing costs of things like towers, circular angles, sunken living rooms, and other creative designs run too high for most people. So there you have it. This could be a game changer for homes. It's 3 weeks to build this home. Like, isn't that absolutely crazy? All right, so it's time for a little bit of a break, but don't go anywhere. Like I said, I have a really cool story about something that's quite complex, but it could be providing clean energy all over the world. I also have some feel-good stories about animals, some new inventions, some kindness stories. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast. Hello, hello. Welcome back. All right, so we are back. I'm going to be sharing more feel-good, positive stories with you, and this one's for all you animal lovers out there. This is pretty cool. Satellites have revealed that there are 20% more emperor penguin colonies in Antarctica than they previously thought. Pretty cool, right? So a new study using satellite mapping technology reveals nearly about 20% more emperor penguin colonies in Antarctica. And the researchers reported this week that they used images from the European Commission's Sentinel-2 satellite mission to locate the birds. They found 11 new breeding colonies, 3 of which were previously identified but never confirmed. And that takes the global census to 61 colonies around the continent. So emperor penguins need sea ice to breed and are located in areas that are very difficult to study because they are remote and often inaccessible with temperatures as low as minus 50 degrees Celsius. So that's minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the last 10 years, the British Antarctic Survey, the BAS scientists, have been looking for new colonies by searching for the gano stains on the ice. They say this is a very exciting discovery, and the new satellite images of Antarctica's coastline have enabled us to find these new colonies. So the colonies are small, but the numbers increase the overall population count by up to 10%. So that's just over 500,000 penguins, or around 278,500 breeding pairs. It's a lot of penguins. The emperor penguins are known to be the most vulnerable to loss of sea ice, their favorite breeding habitat. So the data provides an important benchmark for monitoring the impact of climate change on the population of this bird. And then with current projections of environmental changes, this habitat is likely to decline and penguin populations could be lost under a business as usual scenario with unmitigated greenhouse gas emissions creating warmer temperatures. So the study also found a number of colonies located up to 180 kilometers offshore. So situated on sea ice that has formed around icebergs that had grounded in shallow water. So, which is a surprising new finding as well in the behavior of the species. So during the coldest part of the year, so that's July to August, the breeding emperor penguins return to discrete locations and huddle for protection from the wind and the cold, especially during incubation of their eggs. So there you go. If you also want to find out more information about these penguins, you know the movie March of the Penguins that was narrated by Morgan Freeman? It's a great movie. Go check it out. You'll find out more information about those penguins, or you can also just go online, search that movie up. You'll find a bunch of information as well. But there you go. For all you animal lovers out there, there's more penguins. This is a great news. I love penguins. I love penguins. They're adorable. Now let's keep on the animal train here. And 2 beluga whales are now free for the very first time since 2011. And it's a new life on the Icelandic coast. It's a pretty cool story. So 2 captive belugas were given the chance of a better life. They were relocated from China to a new sanctuary in Iceland. They're 11 years old, and they're known as Little Gray and Little White. They are adorable. Google them. They're so cute. I love beluga whales. They're adorable. But they've spent 7 years performing for audiences at the Ocean World in Shanghai. And in 2019, thanks to the British charity Sea Life Trust, they were freed and they were transported 6,000 miles around the world, 30 hours by air, land, and sea to reach the world's first retirement home for oceanic animal performers. Yes, there is a retirement home for oceanic animal performers. You heard that correctly. So over the past year, this female pair has been cared for inside specialized pools. And now they've made a huge transition. And on August 8th, Little Gray and Little White were moved then to the open water section of the beluga sanctuary. And it's the first time in 11 years that the belugas have swum in the ocean. How crazy is that? Super cool. So Kathy Williamson, who runs the end captivity program at Whale and Dolphin Conservation, she says that the world's first whale sanctuary represents a pathway to the end of the keeping of whales and dolphins confined for entertainment. We are proud to be a partner of this important project that will improve welfare for these belugas and show the world that there is an alternative to whale and dolphin captivity. So the bay itself, it's quite large, it's secluded, it's beautiful. It's 30 feet, so about 9 meters deep and 344,000 square feet wide. And there's lots of space for Little White and Little Gray to swim and explore and play and just make those big dives in the water like normal beluga whales should. So now they're in their new home. They've been showing off their personalities, they say. And according to the team, they say that Little Gray is a very playful whale. She's always curious and willing to learn new things. She also has a mischievous side to her personality and likes to spit water at the animal care team. Super cute. And as for Little White, I guess she's a little bit more shy. She still likes to play and forms close bonds with her handlers as well, though. But this is super cool. So this says, we're absolutely delighted to be able to share the news that Little Gray and Little White are now in their bayside care pool and will need a short period of time to get familiar to their new natural environment and all the outdoor elements before their final release into the wider sanctuary bay. So there you go. Following extensive planning and rehearsals, the first stage of their release back to the ocean was as smooth as we hoped for and planned for. We are carefully monitoring these Little Gray and Little White with our expert care team and vets. They say if they adapt to their new home well, they could enjoy several more decades of life in a natural habitat. And the sanctuary hopes to welcome other retiring aquatic performers in the future. You ever heard of a retirement home for aquatic animals? I guess you have now. Isn't that cool? All right, so my next story I'm going to share with you is about Mackenzie Scott. If you don't know who Mackenzie Scott is, well, she was married to one of the wealthiest men on the planet, Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos. They split in April of 2019, and that was ending a 25-year marriage. So she received $38 billion as part of her settlement, and this is pretty cool what she's going to be doing. So she has given $1.7 billion to nonprofits since her divorce, but she's doing a little bit more as well. So a month after their divorce, she signed the Giving Pledge and promised to give away her billions until the safe is empty. And so a year on, she's now revealed she's been acting on that as pretty much as soon as they got divorced. So $38 billion she got as part of her settlement, and per Bloomberg's latest estimate, her net worth now stands at $60.8 billion. So I guess the latest estimate, her net worth now stands at $60.8 billion. But she just released, just at the end of July, she revealed in a blog post, what she's going to be doing with some of her $1 billion. She says, last fall, I asked a team of nonprofit advisors with key representation from historically marginalized race, gender, and sexual identity groups to help me find and assess organizations having major impact on a variety of causes. So since then, 116 organizations around the world have received $1.7 billion in donations from her. From Black Girls Code to COVID-19 response effort, every one of her recipients writes saying it's tackling a complex challenges that will require sustained effort over many years while simultaneously addressing consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the Point Foundation, which gives scholarships to LGBTQ plus students, is one of the organizations that has benefited from this spate of philanthropy. And its CEO told them that the charity did not apply for a grant and had no connection to her whatsoever. She says it was a very generous gift, and the team received was a gift that just fell from the sky. She says to have somebody believe in you means a lot. So she is not the only billionaire to promise to give away their wealth before they die. So the Giving Pledge is an initiative sparked nearly a decade ago by Bill Gates. And it's been signed by 204 wealthy people, including Mark Zuckerberg, Airbnb co-founder Byron Chesky, Jeff Bezos has not signed the pledge though. Several historically Black colleagues have also received grants from her, including Morehouse, Howard Universities. So the first year of her giving away donations or giving donations to different organizations, if it says anything at all, these nonprofits devoted to the climate crisis and the environment will also benefit from her billions, having already received $125 million so far. Economic mobility is also on her list of causes to support, saying that she's giving $400 million to various groups to date. So she's an award-winning novelist. If you don't know too much about her, she describes herself as a mom, writer, advocate, and she says, my approach to philanthropy will continue to be thoughtful. It will take time and effort and care, but I won't wait. So there you go. Sean Gardner speaks for many in writing to her and says, wow, you donated $1.7 billion to 116 organizations focused on issues like racial equality, LGBTQ equity, functional democracy, climate change, and more. Good stuff. This is awesome. This is pretty awesome. I am excited to hear what's going to happen in the next year and the next year and where all of her billions of dollars are going to go to. All right, it is time for another break, but do not go anywhere. I got lots more feel-good stories to share with you, including that one about something pretty complex that could be providing unlimited clean energy to the world. It marks a huge milestone. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast. We are on the last stretch of today's episode. I have a few more feel-good, positive stories to share with you. Let's jump right back into it and fit as many as we can. So, the world's most valuable company. Can you guess who the world's most valuable company is? Well, they are vowing to be 100% carbon neutral for its supply chain and product life cycle by 2030. Apple. Apple is, I guess, the world's most valuable company. And so they just revealed its plan to become carbon neutral across its entire business, manufacturing supply chain, and the product life cycle for all its devices by 2030. So this company is already carbon neutral today for its global corporate operations, but this new commitment means that by 2030, every Apple device sold will have net zero climate impact. Isn't that incredible? It's crazy, right? So they say businesses have a profound opportunity to help build a more sustainable future, one born of our common concern for the planet we share. It says the innovations powering our environmental journey are not only good for the planet, they've helped us make our products more energy efficient and bring new sources of clean energy online around the world. Climate action can be the foundation for a new era of innovation potential, job creation, and durable economic growth. With our commitment to carbon neutrality, we hope to be a ripple in the pond that creates a much larger change. So that was Apple CEO Tim Cook. So Apple's 2020 Environmental Progress Report released just at the end of July, and it details its plans to reduce the emissions by 75% by 2030 while developing initiative carbon removal solutions for the remaining 25% of its comprehensive footprint. So the company's 10-year climate roadmap will lower emissions by continuing to increase the use of low carbon and recycled materials in its products, innovate its product recycling, and design products to be as energy efficient as possible. So Apple's latest recycling innovation, a robot the company is calling Dave, it disassembles the Taptic engine from the iPhone to better recover key materials such as rare earth magnets, while also enabling recovery of steel. And the company's material recovery lab in Austin, Texas is focused on initiative electronics recycling technology, and it's now partnering with Carnegie Mellon University to further develop engineering solutions. So all iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch devices released in the past year are made with recycled content, including 100% recycled rare earth elements in the iPhone Taptic engine, which is a first for Apple and for any smartphone. So Apple says it decreased its carbon footprint by 4.3 million metric tons in 2019 through design and recycling. And over the past 11 years, Apple has reduced the average energy needed for product use by 73%. So the company is pledging to identify new ways to lower energy use at its corporate facilities and help its supply chain make the same transition through a new partnership with the U.S.-China Green Fund, investing $100 million to accelerate energy efficiency for its suppliers. The number of facilities participating in Apple's Supplier Energy Efficiency Program grew to 92 last year, with these facilities avoiding over 800,000 annualized metric tons of carbon emissions. The company also announced in July a first-of-its-kind carbon fund to invest in the restoration and protection of forests and ecosystems in Kenya and Colombia in partnership with Conservation International. And Apple has invested in management of over 1 million acres of forest and natural climate solutions in China and the U.S. as well. So the company's complete plan and how it measures its carbon footprint will be found in the 2020 Environmental Progress Report. You can literally just go to apple.com/environment and find out a bunch more information of exactly what they're doing and just read about it and see kind of what their plan is. So Apple is supporting the development of the first ever direct carbon-free aluminum smelting process through a partnership with two of its aluminum suppliers as well. And with the first batch due to be used in manufacturing the 16-inch MacBook Pro, so the new aluminum production method will release oxygen rather than greenhouse gases during the smelting process. How crazy is that? So there's so many exciting things that Apple is doing. So head on over to apple.com/environment. Find out some more information about that if you're curious. If you're curious what your products are doing for the environment, head over to that website and read more about it. All right, so now I've been telling you about a complex thing. Well, they say it is extremely complex, but it could be providing unlimited clean energy to the world. So it is a giant nuclear fusion reactor, and it's hotter than the sun. And that's going to provide unlimited clean energy to the world, and it marks a huge milestone. So, This is pretty cool. Okay, so a giant nuclear fusion reactor. It's a machine that could produce relatively unlimited amounts of clean power. They just released this at the end of July, saying that this is the assembly phase of one of humanity's most complex engineering products ever attempted. So this is a collab effort by 35 nations, so China, India, Japan, Korea, Russia, the U.S., alongside the 28 states of European Union and Switzerland as well. So it's the 20 billion euro ITER project, and it's something literally straight out of, that you would see out of a superhero movie. This was conceived literally decades ago in 1985. So the ITER, it finally launched in 2006, and it's been delayed due to numerous setbacks, but they are determined to create what would essentially be the miniature sun on Earth. That's what they're calling it. So this is the core of the sun from the nuclear fusion technology is based, and the technology that, unlike nuclear fission with conventional nuclear reactors, produces 4 times as much energy without the risk of meltdowns and virtually no waste or exhaust of any kind. So enabling the exclusive use of clean energy will be a miracle for our planet. This is Bernard Bigot, the ITER Director General. And he says that fusion alongside renewable energy would allow transport, buildings, and industry to run on electricity. So how complex is this really? It sounds super complex to me already, but the ITER, so that stands for International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, it requires millions of different components assembled over 5 years to create a reactor weighing over 23,000 tons. And it's required for atomic fusion to be achieved. 3,000 tons of super heavy magnets, some weighing more than a passenger aircraft. And it will be linked together with 124 miles of superconducting cables. Yes, that is how complex it is. So construction is underway in the St. Paul-les-Durance, southern France, with major components arriving this year from China, Japan, and other member states. And when operational, the parts will be kept at minus 452 degrees Fahrenheit by the world's largest freezer. This part is important since the fuel, heavy hydrogen atoms gathered from seawater, will need to be heated inside a super hot plasma to over 1 million Celsius, 10 times hotter than the core of the sun. And then before the atoms can overcome their magnetic repulsion and fuse together. So that's why it's called nuclear fusion. So when this happens, an immense amount of energy is released that will power the components and maintenance as well as anything it's connected to, and with nothing but neutrons and helium left over. So this project is only a proof of concept, a sort of blueprint for a long-term permanent commercial reactor. So other nuclear fusion projects do exist, like in India and in England, for example, and they're backed by governments and private investors in hopes it will solve the carbon and energy crisis for all time, basically, but they are a lot smaller. So there you have it. It is the world's largest nuclear fusion reactor. There's a video online if you want to go find out more, but you can literally go to the website ITR Project and find out a bunch more information and exactly kind of what they're doing. And I listed how complex it is, but if you are totally into that, it gets even more complex. So dive into that website, find out some more information for yourself, because this is a huge milestone they are saying. It could be providing unlimited clean energy to the world. So I guess we got to stay tuned for that. All right, well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you so, so much. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you're notified every single time I got new episodes out every Monday and Thursday. As well, head over to our social media pages, like and follow. I love to engage with you on those. And as always, leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much. Stay positive, stay healthy, and spread kindness every single chance you get. Till next time, bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast.